keep up your responsibilities to every single child? How can you be a dad to so many kids?
I think you grow into it. It's like any new father who's having the first child or a second child is going to wonder, can I deal with this? Can I be a good enough father for this child? I think you develop a capacity. I feel connected to all my children. A lot of opportunity to grow together and to, it's a process of personal development, and we're becoming better people in the relationships that we have with one another. This is really a story of love.
I don't think we ever considered divorce really an option.
But in the polygamous culture,
it's there. It's an option.
It does happen.
Robin was married before. I mean, there will be breakups, so to speak. And part of us, our mantra has always been, we're a family, so.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. I hope you're having a wonderful day. On the season 19 of Sister Wives, we are watching content from more than a year ago, and it is relating to finances with the Brown ex-wives versus Kody Brown and his current wife, Robin Brown. And this fight over assets has been a storyline for Janelle Brown. And this most recent episode, we saw some resistance from Mary from Janelle, believing that Kody would do the right thing and would be a gentleman, to which we've all decided that's not who Kody is. But in the real world, not on the show, Christine Brown filed documents last week and provided initial disclosures, discovery disclosures, her financial disclosures to Kody in relation to this child support case. And as I started looking into this specific case, it became very clear to me that Kody Brown is going to be forced to hand over a lot of information. And cases in Utah are broken down into whether or not a case involves finances or doesn't involve finances. And cases that involve finances require a lot of documentation, and the amount of records that Kody will have to hand over to Christine and the state of Utah is extensive. Christine filed her initial disclosures, meaning she's sharing with the court what she has for proof. On November 6th, filed her initial disclosures with the court. What this is under Utah law, what they will disclose are discoverable information, a list of the people that know about the case, that could provide information to support the defense or the case, witnesses, documentation supporting the case, electronically stored information, copies of electronically stored information, tangible things like physical objects they have or control which they support their case, documents that would be referred to in a pleading, like copies of all the documents referred to in the complaint, petition or answer, damages, an estimate of damages claimed and copied of documents of other evidence that support this, and then agreements to satisfy, indemnify, or reimburse. And so these are the initial disclosures, and these are just the general ones. So this is where she tells the court, okay, this is what I have to support my case. But because her case also involves not just custody, it involves child support, then she also has to file what's called a financial declaration. And Kody will have to file one too. And what this means is that Kody is going to be telling the state of Utah and a judge what his finances look like, and the same with Christine. And these are going to be used in order to determine the amount that he has to pay. If I were Janelle, I don't know why she hasn't done this for her daughter, Savannah. She can 100% go back and get support for Savannah because Savannah is only 20. And most states allow you to go back at least 4 years in order to get back child support. So if Janelle wanted to get access to income and back support, she could do this for her daughter. But because Christine is the only one doing this, she's the only one that's actually fighting with Kody legally about money. So in the state of Utah, if you have to complete what's called a financial declaration if your case involves divorce, temporary separation, separation maintenance, parentage, custody, child support, or a petition to modify an order from one of those cases. And this means you have to complete a full financial declaration, including all attachments, and send it to the other party in your case. So there was a lot of questions about how How can there be a financial injunction if this isn't about debt? It doesn't just have to do with debt, it has to do with custody and child support. So, because they are talking about money, it includes financial declarations. And there's a bunch of stuff that Kody's going to have to provide. And this is where Kody won't be able to hide assets. It's also going to be where he won't be able to obscure them through trusts, or even if something is closed, he will still have to disclose that. So when they complete a financial declaration, they have to include the following: copies of statements that are reasonably available to you verifying the items and amounts listed on the form, copies for 2 tax years before the petition was filed, complete federal and state income tax returns, including W-2s and supporting tax schedules and attachments filed by you or on your behalf, or by or on behalf of an entity in which you have majority or controlling interest, including but not limited 1099s or Form K-1. So not only does Kody have to hand over tax returns that are personal, but if he has a majority stake in a company, like say Dabsark or this random LLC, RBHK, or all these dummy LLCs that are out there for the family, he also has to provide tax returns for those. He has to provide pay stubs and other evidence of all earned and unearned income for the 12 months before the petition was filed. All loan applications and financial statements prepared by or used by you within the 12 months before the petition was filed. Documents verifying the value of all real estate in which you have an interest, including but not limited the most recent appraisal, tax valuation, and refinance documents. All statements for 3 months before the petition was filed for all financial accounts, including but not limited to checking, savings, money market funds, certificates of deposit, brokerage, investment, retirement, regardless of whether the account has been closed, including those held in your name jointly with another person or entity, or as a trustee or guardian, or in someone else's name on your behalf. This means the loan applications that Kody filed for his most recent home, where he got a mortgage, he has to provide that to the court. He has to provide the loan records, all financial statements. He also will have to hand over all the real property that he owns and all the mortgage documents. Even if counts are closed, Kody has to hand over money. And having a trust or having someone else hold money in your name, it will not get him out of being able to not disclose assets, because he has to disclose everything. He even has to disclose closed accounts. They want to be able to look at the full scope of the finances, because all of this plays a role in determining the financial position of Kody versus the financial position of Christine, which helps determine the total amount due for the custody and for what his responsibility is for that. So they have an itemized list of what the documents have to be, and it says all loan applications and all financial statements used to apply for loans. So Kody and Robin's most recent home that they purchased, he has to provide Christine with all the evidence of every financial record that he used and statement he used to qualify for that loan. He has to provide all real estate documents, which means all real estate in which I have an interest, includes most recent appraisal, tax, and refinance documents, and then financial statements. And all of this is coming directly from the state of Utah. So you know that I am not making this up. I actually got this directly from the website, and it's a PDF of actually what he has to disclose. The state of Utah splits cases depending on what kind of case someone is filing. And there are different types of cases. There are cases where it's paternity only. There are cases when it includes child custody and support. There are cases where it's modification, or there are cases where it is simply for grandparents' rights. And based upon the type of case that he has, determines what he has to provide. And there are guidelines as far as what he has to disclose and when he has to disclose it. And it says if an answer is filed, both parties must provide initial disclosures to each other, including a financial declaration. So, because this case involves child custody, he has to provide a financial declaration. I don't know if Kody will try to get around this and try to say, I'm not going to include all of this. None of this is her business. I'm only going to give the bare minimum. But the rules on this on the court system for Utah are pretty self-explanatory. Kody is going to have to disclose quite a bit of information, and the financial declaration worksheet that they fill out is already preset, and he'll have to disclose what his monthly income is. He will have to disclose what his monthly expenses are. And his gross monthly income would be including any like business income, rental income, any dividends he's making, any unemployment benefits or any other benefits he might be receiving. They're going to look at all income, and this could be any of his side businesses that he's doing that maybe they don't know about. They look at tax deductions, what his monthly expenses are. Monthly expenses are not necessarily just because of using alimony, it's just showing what he spends on a monthly basis. What I think is going to be interesting for Christine here is that since the show has changed hands in terms of how they're doing their money payments and what they're paying each person for the show, she might be able to see the discrepancies between what she's earning versus what Kody's earning and what he's claiming to earn through the show and what she's claiming to earn through the show. That might be eye-opening for her. Generally speaking, contracts that are done between each participant in a show would be confidential. And so if they're not doing one family lump sum anymore, the negotiations would all be done separately, meaning she might have no clue what he's making on a monthly basis from the show and what kind of bonuses he might be getting paid or what kind of, kickbacks he's getting that she's not getting. It's really opening up a huge Pandora's box here. And when it comes to child support, even though Kody has a lot of monthly expenses, those really don't play a huge role because at the end of the day, Kody can cut expenses on what he pays and puts out. Child support is a requirement. And they look at the total assets held by one parent versus another parent. And then the parent that has the most parenting time is generally the one that ends up getting the amount from the other parent for what they're owed. So it's a worksheet that looks at both parents, and the court looks at both sides. And here's the thing, they already have guidelines on how they would do this in terms of the amount of money he makes and what the expected amount would be that he pays. He's fighting her for custody, by the way, which is hilarious because he has no relationship with Truly. But he won't be able to avoid not paying child support even if he gets, say, 50-50. And that would be really hard because he doesn't live in the same state. And it would be even harder now because he just bought a new house, further cementing that he has no intention to leave Arizona. He knows his daughter lives in Utah. He bought another house in Arizona. So he has zero intention of living in Utah. So he's very unlikely to get 50-50, but even with 50-50 in the state of Utah, that doesn't preclude someone from paying child support. Kody might think that putting money in a trust, selling property, and qualifying for new loans and getting rid of, marital assets or assets that other people in the family gave him money for, robbing Peter to pay Paul, which would be the home that he owned in Flagstaff, the McMansion. He may think that he will be able to hide this, but he won't. And so even the assets that are gone, he has to disclose. They have to look at a whole picture of what he's making to determine what she's owed. And Christine's situation is different than everyone else. She's different than Janelle and Mary because she has a minor child. Neither one of them do. She's different because she has completely severed ties with him in every respect. She is married to a man. That's not Kody Brown. She has no intention of ever going back to the world of polygamy. Now, Kody claims that he's a monogamist now and he doesn't believe in all of this. But to date, Janelle and Mary are still tied to him in so many ways. They have their names on businesses with him. They have their names on property with him. They all still jointly own Coyote Pass, not jointly. A lot of people have asked about the Coyote Pass properties and how the titles are held. Each title for each parcel is independent. They are not a package. So a parcel that has 2 acres would have an independent title to a parcel that has 4 acres. Each parcel is separate. Each owner is separate, and the ownerships are different on each parcel. They're not sold as a unit. They're sold independent. And these properties were sold independently of one another, even though they purchased them all together. So Janelle and Mary are still tied up in the Coyote Pass properties. He hasn't put these on the market. They haven't pulled any permits, and there is zero intention for them to build. So right now it's just sitting there. But Christine removed her name from Coyote Pass. She removed her name from all of these ties to Kody. She doesn't have ties to Kody. Janelle and Mary are still tied to Kody. They are still not filing legal action against Kody. Why? Because there's probably nothing that they can legally do. A lot of what Janelle is talking about on the show is just a lot of unfortunate consequences of choosing to be in the life of polygamy. Janelle is over and over and over stated that polygamy was her choice, that she wanted to do this. She fully understood the ramifications of being a part of a family where she had no legal rights as a wife. And she trusted that Kody would take care of her while she was with him. And now that she's not with him, now she doesn't trust that he will take care of her. It's kind of ironic. This family spent years advocating that what they were doing was different than what Warren Jeffs was doing, that they were not the stereotypes. And now some members of that family are willing to separate from it, like Christine, and others are not. Janelle is not willing to separate from this concept that polygamy is bad and that she has put herself in a bad position because of polygamy. She wants to just blame it on Kody or the circumstance. But this is honestly the consequence of what happens. And unless you have a legal document that states you have rights or you have a minor child, Janelle has no rights to really much of anything. And why would she not sue? Because her hands are just as dirty as Kody's. If she was Kody's bookkeeper and she knew what Kody was doing with the money and where he might have been putting money for one person and not another person, and she wasn't disclosing that to other people, which it sounds like she wasn't, her hands are not clean. And in the court, unclean hands is a defense. And that's when it comes to financial agreements that are not above board and maybe illegal, courts don't look too favorably at getting involved in, well, you guys did this all under illegal pretenses. So you can't come here into a court of a law and expect now to have legal protection now, when you knew then it was illegal to do this. It's the consequence of the action. Christine actually took the legal steps to do what she needed to do and had a minor child to help her do this and to ensure that her child was cared for. That's the difference. Christine has a right to be paid for her children, and she has a right to back child support, and she has a right for the back medical debt that Kody owes. The longer the season goes on, I'm less sympathetic to Janelle and Mary, and I remain sympathetic, and I am fully on the side of Christine and what she's doing, because Christine is the one that's out, and she's not pretending like polygamy wasn't the problem. She knows it was a problem. So Kody's not going to be able to hide. He's kind of screwed here. And all of these documents that he's disclosing to the court and to Christine cannot share with Janelle, and she cannot share with Mary. These are for this case only. And knowing how Kody is, I will not be surprised if he wants a protective order for these records, meaning that it's for her attorney's eyes only, the court's eyes only, and that it can't be shared. He would probably be fearful that it would get shared. And for that reason, it's very common in these kinds of cases that protective orders are issued for all financial records. So what are your thoughts? What do you think Kody, do you think Kody's going to drag his feet? Do you think it's going to bite him in the butt now because he qualified for this huge loan and now he has to disclose how he did that? That was the part that I thought was the most interesting. Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye, guys.